The feelings that I have about the documentary, man, it was just old news, and they took a couple of with the footage from Puff from the days that's leading up him to get arrested, and the incidents with the people from the courts, you know, the two people from the courts. So it was nothing new. It was.
The bombshells just keep coming. We've reached a moment where the walls around Sean Diddy Combs aren't just cracking, they're collapsing in real time. And the man holding the detonator isn't a prosecutor, a rival, or even a scorned ex. It's his own former bodyguard, Gene Deal. A figure who once stood between Diddy and the chaos of his empire is now stepping into the spotlight with a fury that suggests he's ready to burn it all down. And when we say all, we mean the secrets so explosive, so carefully buried, that even Netflix's controversial documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning, didn't dare touch them. That's not hyperbole, that's Gene Deal's own words. Let's rewind just 48 hours. The docuseries drops on December 2nd, 2025, a 4-part deep dive executive produced by 50 Cent, packed with what Netflix calls explosive footage. Private calls with lawyers, damning testimonies, and allegations stretching from the passing of Tupac Shakur to the so-called freak-off gatherings that became a centerpiece of Diddy's trial. The response from Diddy's camp is immediate: a cease and desist letter, accusations of stolen material, and a public statement slamming the project as a shameful hit piece orchestrated by a rival with a vendetta. But here's the twist. While the world debates the documentary's legitimacy, Gene Deal, the man who spent years as Diddy's shadow, watches it all unfold and laughs. Not because it's inaccurate, but because, in his view, it doesn't even scratch the surface.
Big. It wasn't only Tupac, you understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in. You got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from Bad Boy from its conception as doing security and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around.
Deal didn't just walk away from the documentary. He was invited to participate, then walked out when, as he claims, the producers turned hostile. His exact words: "The film is a joke, a distraction, a carefully curated narrative that still manages to miss the real story." And now he's making it clear, if Netflix wanted fireworks, they should have listened to him. Because what Gene Deal knows, what he's hinting at in interviews and leaked conversations, isn't just another layer of scandal. It's the kind of information that could allegedly add years to Diddy's current 50-month sentence. We're talking federal interest. We're talking investigations reignited. We're talking about a man already behind bars at Fort Dix, New Jersey, staring down the possibility that his legal nightmare is only beginning. But let's get specific. Deal isn't just throwing vague accusations into the wind. He's teasing a timeline, one that starts with his refusal to play ball with the documentary's producers and ends with a promise: more leaks are coming. Not rumors, not hearsay, documents, recordings, names. The kind of evidence that doesn't just embarrass a mogul, but dismantles the myth of his untouchability. And here's the chilling part. Deal isn't acting alone. Insiders familiar with his circle suggest he's been in contact with former Bad Boy Records associates, legal figures, and even individuals tied to the civil lawsuits still piling up against Combs. The question isn't if he'll drop these bombshells, but when, and what they'll reveal about the operations behind Diddy's empire.
Dishonest, violent, horrible. A promiscuous swinger who lied to and cheated on multiple partners. Incredibly, that's how Sean Diddy Combs' own lawyers describe the billionaire music mogul, currently facing serious trafficking charges in a New York court.
Now, let's talk motive. Why now? Why not during the trial, when testimonies from Cassie Ventura, Rodney Jones, and others painted a picture of coercion, surveillance, and systemic abuse? Deal's silence back then was deafening. But sources close to him claim he was waiting for the right moment, the right platform, the right leverage. Some speculate it's personal, that years of witnessing behavior he could no longer stomach finally pushed him over the edge. Others whisper about financial incentives, though Deal's team has denied any deals. Then there's the theory that this is strategic. By letting the documentary air first, Deal ensures his revelations won't be buried in the noise. They'll land like a second wave, forcing media, legal teams, and even federal investigators to revisit cases they believed were closed. Meanwhile, the documentary itself is already a powder keg. The footage of Diddy, just 6 days before his September 2024 arrest, on the phone with attorney Mark Agnifilo, is damning. "We have to find somebody that'll work with us," he says. "Somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda." That's not a man preparing for a fair trial. That's a man scrambling to control a narrative he knows is slipping away. And then there's the call with his son, Justin Combs, where he claims God told him to do nothing, a stark contrast to the frantic legal maneuvering happening behind the scenes. Netflix insists the footage was obtained legally, but Diddy's team calls it theft, a violation of attorney-client privilege. The back and forth isn't about ethics anymore. It's about optics. Who gets to tell the story, and who gets silenced in the process? But here's where Deal's intervention changes everything. If the documentary is a grenade, his leaks are the nuclear option. He's not just challenging the film's completeness. He's implying that the most dangerous truths about Diddy's operations, the financial schemes, the alleged payoffs, the connections to figures still active in the industry, were deliberately omitted. And if that's true, we have to ask, who benefited from that omission? Was it Netflix avoiding legal exposure? Was it 50 Cent, whose involvement Diddy's team calls a personal vendetta? Or was it someone inside Diddy's own camp, pulling strings to contain the fallout?
Get out in front of this and try to persuade Netflix not to come forward with it. I think it's an interesting argument because what they're claiming is, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, has had a long-standing, animosity against Diddy and sort of vice versa. And because he's at the helm, they're arguing this can't be taken seriously. This should sort of be seen as propaganda. And one of the things that Netflix hit back with was, yes, he's the executive producer. He doesn't necessarily have creative control. And that's something.
The timing couldn't be more volatile. Diddy is already serving time, but his legal battles are far from over. The racketeering charge may have resulted in an acquittal, but the civil lawsuits, over 100 of them, keep coming. Each one alleges patterns of behavior that, if proven, could reshape his legacy forever. And now, with Gene Deal positioning himself as the insider who really knows where the bodies are buried, the stakes aren't just about reputation. They're about survival. Because if federal prosecutors get wind of credible, previously undisclosed evidence, especially anything tied to the freak-off gatherings, the Shakur allegations, or the financial movements before Diddy's arrest, they won't hesitate to reopen files. We can't ignore the irony here. Diddy built his career on control over artists, over narratives, over the very idea of power in hip-hop. But now the control is slipping. And the people doing the talking aren't just accusers or rivals. They are the men who stood beside him, who saw the mechanics of the empire up close, and who've decided the truth is worth more than loyalty. Gene Deal isn't just a whistleblower. He's a wild card. And if his promises hold weight, the next few weeks won't just be about Diddy's past. They'll be about his future, and whether the system that once protected him will finally turn its back. But there's one question that hangs heavier than the rest. If Deal's leaks are as devastating as he claims, what's the one story he's been holding back? The one piece of the puzzle that makes everything else fall into place? Because in the game of high-stakes revelations, the last card played is always the most dangerous. And from where we're standing, that card is about to hit the table. The moment Gene Deal stepped into the spotlight with his explosive claims, the real question wasn't just what he knows. It was why now. Insiders whisper that this isn't just about a documentary that failed to deliver the full truth. This is about years of silence, about stories Deal allegedly carried like a weight, watching as Diddy's empire thrived while the darker machinery of that power stayed buried. And if we're reading between the lines, Deal's fury isn't just professional, it's personal. The way he dismisses 50 Cent's involvement as pure promotion, calling the rapper's role a hollow marketing ploy, suggests he sees the entire documentary as a missed opportunity. A chance to finally expose the system that protected Diddy for decades. But instead of truth, Deal claims, we got spectacle. And now he's making sure the next act won't be so carefully curated.
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was gonna do something and they're gonna say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him.
Let's talk about the timing, because it's impossible to ignore. The documentary drops, the world reacts, and then, like clockwork, Deal starts dripping these rumors into the press. Critics point out that the timing feels too perfect, too calculated. Was he waiting for the right moment to maximize impact? Or is there something bigger at play here? Sources familiar with Deal's circle suggest he's been in quiet conversations with legal teams tied to the civil lawsuits still piling up against Diddy. If that's true, then his leaks aren't just about revenge. They're about leverage. Because if Deal's information can tie into ongoing investigations, if it can corroborate claims from accusers or reveal new patterns of behavior, then we're not just talking about a fallen mogul's reputation. We're talking about a legal domino effect that could stretch far beyond Diddy's current 50-month sentence. And then there's the documentary itself, a project that, according to Deal, didn't just miss the mark, but actively avoided the most damning stories. He's not just saying it's incomplete, he's implying it's a cover-up. That's a bold claim, especially when you consider the footage Netflix did include, those private calls with lawyers, the frantic strategizing just days before Diddy's arrest. But Deal's argument is simple. If that's what they chose to show us, imagine what they didn't. And if we're connecting the dots, the omission of certain narratives, like the full scope of the freak-off gatherings, the financial trails leading up to the arrest, or the deeper ties to figures still active in the industry, starts to look less like an oversight and more like a calculation. One that Deal is now determined to unravel. But let's pull back the curtain on the man behind the leaks, because Gene Deal isn't just a disgruntled ex-employee. He's a walking contradiction, a figure whose silence for years now feels like a psychological time bomb. Insiders familiar with his tenure in Diddy's inner circle describe a man who didn't just witness the excesses of power, but enabled them, a loyalist who carried secrets like a shield, only to now wield them as weapons. The shift from silence to sabotage doesn't happen overnight. It's the kind of betrayal that simmers, fed by years of watching the man he protected evade consequences while others, assistants, artists, even allies, were discarded or silenced. And if we're reading the subtext of Deal's recent moves, this isn't just about exposing Diddy. It's about dismantling the myth of invincibility that Diddy sold to the world, and that Deal once helped him maintain.
Are you surprised by the evidence that's already coming out in the criminal trial?
No, I'm not surprised. I experienced some of those things. Witnessed violence.
What's fascinating and unsettling is how Deal's leaks seem to target the psychological foundations of Diddy's defense. The documentary may have focused on legal strategies and public scandals, but Deal's hints point to something far more personal. The unspoken incidents, the moments caught on camera or whispered about in back rooms that never made it into court filings. Sources close to Deal suggest he's sitting on stories that don't just implicate Diddy in crimes, but expose him as a man who weaponized trust, turning loyalty into a trap. Imagine the psychological toll of that. Knowing you were part of the machine, that your silence helped it run, and now realizing the only way to break free is to burn it all down. That's not revenge. That's an exorcism. And then there's the question of what Deal's revelations could do to Diddy's mental state behind bars. Prison is already a psychological battlefield, but for a man like Diddy, who built his identity on control, the idea that his former enforcer is now the one dictating the narrative must feel like a special kind of torment. Legal teams can fight lawsuits and appeals, but they can't spin their way out of the kind of personal betrayal Deal represents. This isn't just about adding time to a sentence. It's about eroding the last remnants of the persona Diddy spent decades crafting, the mogul, the untouchable kingmaker, the man who turned vulnerability into a brand. What's left when the people who knew you best start telling the world you were never who you claimed to be? But here's the twist, Deal's psychological warfare isn't just about Diddy. It's about the industry that let it all happen. The managers who looked the other way. The artists who stayed quiet for checks. The media that treated rumors as currency. Deal's leaks aren't just aimed at one man's downfall. They're a challenge to the entire culture of complicity. And if that's the case, then his endgame isn't just exposure. It's a reckoning. Because in hip-hop's dark underbelly, loyalty isn't just a virtue, it's a survival tactic. And Deal's betrayal? That's the ultimate violation of the code. The question is, will it be seen as justice, or just another cycle of violence in an industry that's always thrived on both? The most chilling part? Deal hasn't even played his strongest hand yet. The rumors he's teased, the untold incidents, the names he's hinted at, the alleged cover-ups that go beyond Diddy's immediate circle, all suggest he's not just leaking information. He's rewriting the rules of the game. And if he succeeds, the definition of loyalty in hip-hop might never be the same. Because in the end, this isn't just about what Diddy did. It's about what everyone else let him get away with, and what happens when the man who knew it all decides it's time to talk.
But if you look at it, it's all control. And then why is the CIA funding third world country record labels? Why is that happening?
But here's where things get even more complicated. Deal isn't just talking about Diddy, he's hinting at a network. People who enabled, who covered up, who turned a blind eye because the money was good and the power was intoxicating. And if those names start dropping, if those connections become public, this stops being about one man's downfall and becomes an industry-wide reckoning. We've seen this before in other scandals, where the first domino doesn't just fall, it takes the whole structure with it. The difference here? Diddy isn't just any figure. He's a titan. A man who shaped hip-hop, who moved in circles that included politicians, athletes, and A-list celebrities. If Deal's leaks implicate others, if they reveal the behavior wasn't just personal but systemic, then the fallout won't be confined to a prison cell in New Jersey. It'll ripple through boardrooms, recording studios, and maybe even courtrooms we haven't heard from yet. And let's not forget the legal chessboard Diddy's already navigating. The racketeering charge may have ended in an acquittal, but the civil lawsuits keep coming, each one alleging patterns of behavior that, if proven, could reshape his legacy forever. Deal's promises of devastating leaks couldn't come at a worse time. Federal prosecutors are still watching. The PR machines are still spinning. And if Deal delivers on his threats, if he provides documentation, recordings, or first-hand accounts that fill in the gaps left by the documentary, then Diddy's legal team isn't just fighting old battles. They're staring down an entirely new war. One where the stakes aren't just about time served, but about the very narrative of who Diddy was, what he built, and how far the rot spread. But here's the twist. Deal isn't the only one with a motive. The moment he started talking, whispers about his credibility began too. Was he really silenced? Or is this a man who's found his moment in the sun? Some insiders suggest Deal has been shopping his story for months, waiting for the right bidder, the right platform. Others claim he's got nothing but smoke, that his promises of destroying Diddy are just empty threats from a man who feels left behind. But if that's the case, why is Diddy's team so visibly rattled? Why the urgent statements? Why the legal threats? Why the frantic attempts to control the narrative? Because if Deal's leaks are as hollow as they claim, then why does it feel like the walls are closing in? And then there's the 50 Cent factor. Diddy's team has made it clear, they see 50 Cent's involvement in the documentary as a personal vendetta, a decades-long feud playing out on a global stage. But Deal's dismissal of 50 Cent as just a promotional tool adds another layer. If the documentary was never about truth, if it was just another chapter in a rap beef turned legal battle, then what does that say about the stories we didn't hear? The ones Deal claims to hold? Because if this is all just a game of egos, then the real victims, the accusers, the silenced industry figures, the fans left in the dark, are still waiting for the truth. And Deal's promising to deliver it, one leak at a time. As the pieces start to shift, as Deal's revelations inch closer to the light, we have to ask: who's really pulling the strings here? Is this about justice or power? Because in the world of hip-hop, entertainment, and men who've spent decades writing their own rules, the line between the two has always been blurry. And if Deal's leaks do what he claims they will, if they add years to Diddy's sentence, if they drag other names into the fire, then we're not just watching the fall of a mogul. We're watching the unraveling of an era.
Did you ever spend time with the guy? Did you ever meet Diddy?
I've met him before, yeah.
How was he?
Very nice guy, very smart, super business. You know, I mean, he's very successful.
But here's the question that keeps us up at night. If Gene Deal's flood of leaks is as devastating as he claims, if the secrets he's sitting on are the ones that finally topple Diddy's legacy, then what happens when the dam breaks? Who else goes down with the ship? And how deep does the corruption really go? Because one thing's for sure, this isn't just about one man's crimes. It's about the system that let them happen. And if Deal is right, if the Netflix documentary was just the tip of the iceberg, then we haven't seen anything yet. So tell us, do you think Gene Deal is the whistleblower we've been waiting for? Or is this just another chapter in the Diddy saga designed to keep us all guessing? Drop your theories in the comments, because this story is far from over. And as always, stay locked in, stay curious, and remember, when the truth finally comes out, it's never pretty. We'll see you in the next one.